Maybe she is great.
She is not Miss Universe.
I'm Gabby, that's Jordan.
Back and I'm like, wow, I really had severe daddy issues. Like red flag, red flag, red flag.
I'm sure, I know I'm the villain in that story. Hello.
Hi.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Jordan. I didn't know you were gonna say that.
And this is the
Threw me off.
D-list celebrities. Jordan's not in penis jail anymore.
I kind of want to just wear those to like Publix and just see what someone says.
Honestly, if we had a pool party to go to, I'd wear them.
We could have a pool party.
We don't have a pool.
I have a pool.
Oh yeah, I forgot you do have a pool. I don't have a pool, and we usually have all our parties over.
We can have one at my pool.
We could get a blow.
No one ever. We should have one of those parties where like you bring your own blow up pool.
Okay, that's a
And
thing.
like yeah, and then like everyone has like their own.
Okay, we're having a party.
It's like
you guys can come. Hit us up for invites.
Everyone's invited. Should we just like
don't
your
tell them my
whole
address?
block?
Yeah, it'll really piss off the neighbor. The neighbor keeps yelling at our friend. Kelsey keeps parking over. But first of all, it's street parking. So the best part is every time Kelsey parks over there, he comes out and yells at her, or he yells at somebody else to tell her to move her car. And it's like he acts like he owns that part of the street. Well, the best part is the last time he did it, my friend was over who's a cop. And she was like, he legally can't do that. Do I need to go over there and kick his ass? And I was like, yes, please. It's always good. Make cop friends. Have the cops on your side.
That truck is like too big.
Well, I get
And
that.
He has like pictures in the inside. It looks like someone lives in it.
It's a welding truck. It's very odd. Regardless, he yells at all of my friends, and I just don't think that's very necessary because you don't own the road. If somebody parked in your street spot, there's literally one right next to it. Like, just park 5 feet up. You're going to be okay. But I don't know how we got on this topic. No, we're not having a pool party on my block. But if you want to go park in front of my neighbor's house, if you know where I live, because I'm not going to tell the internet where I live, I give you full rights to go park there and leave your car there for a month. Do it.
Come on.
Free parking. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll watch it. Leave it. There's no rules.
What if he parked the van?
I don't want it to tie back to me. My handles are on the back of the van.
We could get like a junkyard car. Just
anybody have a totaled car? Give it to us. Anyways, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about how we met. Well, you met Kyle and how I met Matt.
Oh,
I can go first.
How you met stories. This is the start, actually. This is the beginning of the month, and this is the start of the relationship month. So we're changing themes. Yeah. Last month's theme was chaotic.
Very chaotic.
It wasn't a theme.
Like stories, getting to know us a little bit.
Yeah.
This month we have some really cool guests. I'm excited for the guests this month.
Yeah, we've got great guests. We've already filmed one with one of the guests, so we're actually kind of out of order right now. But you will be seeing this one first because this is kind of our intro into relationships. So, you want to go
If you
first?
have any relationship questions, DM us.
Yeah,
on social media. Yeah, so I was 20. If you know me now, you can't imagine me as a 20-year-old. Because
chaotic.
I was wild. I decided to leave college and I moved in with my aunt. I didn't move back home. And I started a job. It was a sales job. It was actually a door-to-door sales job.
Wow, you were in an MLM and a door sales job.
Let me tell you, door-to-door sales, I would not have met Matt, so I'm grateful for it. But I met all of my best friends through that job.
Except for, you bonded over. It's called a trauma bond. It's called the trauma bond.
Literally.
And you had it. You had a trauma bond.
We still have the trauma bond. Anyways, so I started this job, and it is what you would think of a sales job. It is a frat boy culture, literally. Like, there were mandatory Thursday nights. We go out after work.
You had to?
Yes, you
had to.
But
it said, no, I'm going to go to bed.
You could, but, it was really,
but then
really
they talk shit about you.
It was really
talk mad shit out.
And, what was crazy is, most of these Thursday nights, we were getting blackout drunk. And then we'd, show up to work on Friday and be like, oh, I think I'm just gonna head out after the meeting. I'm just gonna go home. It was so bad. So, my first week working there, obviously, they're inviting me to things, and I don't want to say no.
Yeah.
Because I'm just I want to get to know everyone. Little did I know. what kind of partying these people do. So it was a Monday. They invited me to the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight on Wednesday.
Wait, what year was this?
I mean, on Saturday. This was 2017. It was a huge fight.
What was the fight in 2020 with Conor McGregor that he knocked the dude out in the first 3 seconds?
I don't know.
Fuck, never mind. It's irrelevant. Go ahead.
Okay. So they invited me. Okay. Let me back up. So it was a Wednesday night. They said they had offices. They have offices all over the US. They said that one of the girls from the Boston office, the admin girls, was in. They were going out to a bar. One of my favorite bars is called Beer Garden. I will need to take you
There's
to
a beer garden everywhere.
Yes. This is like New York City style beer garden almost.
Okay.
Like very German. Yeah. So we go, I have a few drinks. I'm kind of holding back because I don't know these people yet.
Okay.
So then I go home. The next night is Thursday night. People are trashed. I get there, they're trashed. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm drinking. So I get drunk. Friday rolls around and this kid in the office, I did not look like this at the time. I was like real hot then. This kid in the office had a crush on me, and he was like, "Oh, Brian, I shouldn't name drop, but I guess I am. Is having a party like at his house, like a watch party for the game.
Brian
Everyone,
could be a fake name.
yeah, he was the boss. It's a real name.
I'm trying to help you out here.
No, I don't think he'll care. So he was the boss. He was having a party at his apartment for this fight.
Okay.
So the plan was like we were all gonna like go to his apartment and watch the fight because you have to pay for the fight.
Yeah.
So he bought it. This kid in the office asked me to go. So he stops at this store
Okay.
that his like friend owns or whatever. And he's like, yeah, just like pick out whatever you want. So I'm 20 and like obviously I can't even buy alcohol. So I get a Smirnoff Ice party pack. And it is the summer. So they still have the 4th of July, the red, white, and blue ones.
Wait. So I gotta hold up here because this is important. I want to know if we are culturally different or not.
Yeah.
So you wanted to sip on the Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah.
Okay, see, for me growing up, we didn't sip on or drink the Smirnoff Ices.
No, you put shots in them.
We are culturally different. On the West Coast, we iced each other.
This was before icing.
2017, I was icing people.
We were not icing.
You were late to the icing party because I would never sip a Smirnoff Ice, but you best believe we hid those motherfuckers everywhere and we're like, hey, you just got it. You know what I mean?
Icing was like probably the year after, I feel like, for us.
I've been doing icing since
2019.
we got to college, so way before 2017.
Yeah, no. I think there's a gap there. Yeah. We didn't start that until like 2018, 2019.
West Coast, Best Coast.
But no, I did not sip them. I chugged them with shots.
That's weird.
It tastes fine, but
You're a
I was like 20 years old.
Don't pretend you wouldn't do that now still.
No, I definitely would, but I would have such a bad hangover that it's not my first choice. But if I had to drink, if I showed up to a party and there were Smirnoff Ices, I'd be like, all right, I'm drinking them. But they're so sugary now for me. I'm like, oh, I can feel the hangover for 3 days.
The way that Kyle will eat literally anything off the floor, out of the garbage, like the way that Kyle will eat anything is the way I feel about you. Like you'll drink anything that has alcohol in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except I will not drink one thing, and it is Jaeger.
I have a bad Jaeger story.
I've had Jaeger once, and I will never have it ever again.
It's just too licoricey. Anyway, continue.
So I get the Smirnoff Ice party pack. I get in the car with this kid. We go to my boss's house. We're hanging out. I am drunk. I am so drunk. It's embarrassing. But anyways, so they're like, hey, like, why don't we all go to Dave and Buster's and watch the fight? We heard that they're having like this party or something.
Okay.
So we go there. It's really busy. So we decide to leave. And at this point, I'm like starting to kind of go in and out of like blackout. Like I'm browning out. And all of a sudden, wait, I need to back up. I missed a huge part of this story. Oh my God. Am I on drugs right now?
No, she's not.
Okay.
She's not. Disclaimer. We're on coffee only.
It's like 9 a.m.
It did run through. Yeah, normally we do drink our wine on this, but like.
So we walk into my boss's apartment. The two HR girls are there.
Okay.
And I didn't know that they lived with my boss.
That's so weird.
The culture of this job is weird.
Jordan,
Okay.
I think you were in a cult.
I think so
I think you were
too.
in a cult. Call your dad.
No, I think so too. So they live together and they're like, oh, this is our roommate Downs. And I'm like, hey. And it is like this goofy little kid with his glasses like this, almost circular, sitting on the ground playing Spotify. And I'm like, hello. Like, hi. Like scrawny. And I'm like, what's up? So then we continue. Everyone else from the job comes. We go to Dave and Buster's. And then I
Busters.
remember we were like, we're leaving Dave and Buster's because it's too crowded and they're charging like a cover or something. We're like, we might as well just go watch the game. Not the game, the fight at his apartment. So we're going back, and all I remember is like walking to two cars. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go in this car. And Downs is like, yeah, I'll go with her. And then we start holding hands, and we get in the car and we start making out with the back seat.
Wait. You've said 3 words to this dude. And you are now holding it. Did he grab your hand or did you grab
So
his?
there was more that happened before like we left for Dave and Buster's. I just don't remember because I drank like 24 Smirnoff ices.
Only you would black out while meeting your future husband.
Yeah, so that's not the greatest part of the story though. Is so we're holding hands. The HR girl is driving. Me and Downs are in the back seat making out. We get back to the apartment. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't even remember who won the fight to this day. I don't even have the
It
time to
was
Google
Conor
it.
McGregor. Duh.
Was it?
He wins everything. It's bold to assume that he didn't win.
No, I did. I don't think he did.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know. We'll have to look that up later.
Okay.
I am so blacked out. And then I wake up in the morning to a man poking me. Hello, I have to go to work. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, where am I? And then I start to look at him and I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay. So I get up, I get dressed because I'm completely naked, and I put an Uber in my phone to come pick me up. He comes out of the bathroom, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just waiting for my Uber. And he's like, I'll drive you. And I'm like, okay. So we leave his room.
Okay.
In the kitchen is my boss and the HR girl just staring at me.
Oh,
And I was like, this is mortifying. Oh my God.
She's like, I
So
have to quit immediately. I have to
so
quit.
I just kind of like, I was like, all right, we're gonna forget that ever happened, and I'm just gonna go to work on Monday, like I didn't do that. So I go to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday goes by, Thursday comes, right? And we have our mandatory,
Yeah.
Thursday night out. So I'm sitting there, and one of the other kids who works in the office is joking, and he's like, "So, like, how's Downs?" And I'm like, "Who is that?"
You didn't even remember
And
his
he's like,
name.
"Downs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who is that?" And he was like, "Brian's roommate." And I was like, "Oh, that's his name." And he was like, yeah. And he was like, so like what happened? Because the other kid who brought me to the party thought he was going home with me.
Oh, so now he's all butthurt and jealous.
Yes. So he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that. And I was like, I don't even know his name. And he was like, well, have you talked to him? And I was like, I don't have his number. I don't know his name to look him up, like anything. And he was like, give me your phone. So this kid took my phone, found him on Facebook, added him on Facebook. Within probably less than 10 minutes, Matt had messaged me back and was like, hey, like, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, nothing, just hanging out, probably going to downtown Albany. Like, what else is there to do? And he was like, well, my friend lives in downtown Albany. Like, come hang out with us. And we started hanging out and literally have not stopped.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Especially when you marry.
Literally, like, that weekend that we hung out, we probably spent the longest we've been away from each other was when I went to New York this summer.
I want to know his perspective on this
Oh,
movie.
it's hilarious. You need to ask him because it's so funny. Because he was cognizant of the whole thing.
I wish Matt is not Matt doesn't have an Instagram. Matt is not a social media person. I wish he'd come and tell the
Yeah,
story.
he doesn't have an Instagram. Maybe we could get him to come tell the story.
Just that story. What if
Yeah.
we don't what if we film him without his consent and then ask for his consent after we've already filmed it? Because
We
it's like
could.
the fear is gone already, you know? Like I think it's the initial fear that he's
Maybe.
like, I don't want to
Like the
be on
camera shy.
Well, it's like camera shy or like the pressure of like saying something wrong. If he's just saying a story and getting it out,
His version of the story is very funny.
oh my god.
But
Good
when
old
I
Matt.
quit that job, he still lived with my boss at the time.
So you had to see your boss all the time.
And I remember like going in and I like quit and then I left like after I quit because it wasn't really a job where like you put it 2 weeks in. Like it was
No,
more
it's
of like
door to door sales.
it was like you stop and like you go home. So I went to Matt's
So
house
he didn't
afterwards.
work for them.
He did, but he quit before I started.
So okay, so it couldn't have been that awkward then because he was still living with his ex-boss and
But it was awkward the day I quit and then I go to Matt's house and then my boss comes in like 30 minutes after I quit and I'm like, hey,
you're like, oh no.
what's up? This is awkward.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's how me and Matt met.
I
But I tell people we met for the first like year or two we were dating. I tell people we met at the grocery store in the produce section
Why would you do that?
because I didn't want people to think that I was going around sleeping with everyone.
Well, you could have just said we met through my work. Why the grocery store?
I feel
Why'd
like
you add
I feel
another
like,
dynamic to it?
like if we met in the produce section, they'd be like, "Oh, you both are like healthy." Yeah.
No.
So imagine the story being told during my ceremony at the wedding. It was she put it very gracefully, but it was.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I never for a second would have believed you if you told me you met Matt in the produce section.
No, I don't know what
I would have been like, okay, so were you
no.
blacked out at the grocery store? Please
Probably.
do tell. I
And
expect nothing
so
less.
like that's funny. So yeah, we literally met off Smirnoff Ice. Because I think I offered him one and he was like, absolutely not.
For your first anniversary, I'm gonna bring you a bag of Smirnoff Ice.
You should. It has to be the
red, white,
and blue
Well,
party
how am
pack.
I gonna find the red, white, and blue if it's not close to 4th of July?
They sell it all summer. They sell it all
Well,
summer.
your anniversary's in May.
Yeah, right before summer.
Okay, so they might have it out already. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so should we play a game?
Yes.
We're gonna play that TikTok game that's going around right now. As a matter of
Wait,
fact,
I need to put on the funny sunglasses.
we were gonna film it, but that's okay.
We can film it. Oh, we can't because we
No,
don't have
because
a
we have to
third.
show each
We
other.
don't have a third phone.
We do somewhere, but it's okay. We're not gonna film it today. This, I guess, is a podcast exclusive. It's not for the Instagrams or the Tickle Talks.
Tickle Talks.
That's what we call it in our house. Okay, so we're gonna play that game where it's like there's a category and then you have to show your person their phone and watch their reaction. And you guys don't get to see, unfortunately. If you, this is bold. This is bold. If you can get us to 1 million followers each, we'll show you because mine are nasty. Mine are mean. So 1 million, not each. If you can get our podcast to 1 million subscribers, that's either YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, before the end of 2023, we'll tell you.
Yes.
I think it's fair.
That's a long time though. Well, yeah, that's
that's
kind of realistic.
I don't see that happening. As a matter of fact, I don't think I even want that happening. I don't think I want 1 million people listening to us talk.
Yeah. Oh my god.
1 million people
I
listening
would
to
be
us talk.
canceled so fast.
Oh yeah, we'd be on the hit list.
Done. Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. We'd be like so canceled.
Okay. What are we doing?
Okay, the first one is going to be your first kiss.
Okay.
We have these pre-prepared for you guys. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Wait.
Why do they look kind of alike? Also, the sweater. It's just the sweater and the flannel.
Oh my god.
The phone.
He did not look like this in high school.
We basically show. Oh, this is a picture of him from high school.
I couldn't find one of him from high school.
What we just showed each other was identical mirror selfies. Only this one was from 2012 and yours is from now, which is really concerning. Okay, show your first love.
Okay.
Ready? Go. These ones look nothing alike. Okay.
I thought I was gonna marry that man.
I thought I was going to marry him too. Least favorite human on the planet.
Oh.
Ready?
Wait. I'm not ready. Okay, ready?
Go. We're gonna
No.
we have the same one. I think we both thought we were gonna be super clever with that. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, best friend.
Okay.
Ready? Go.
Oh,
I knew that. I
Yeah.
knew that. Okay. And then the last one is going to be someone who has been draining you recently.
Okay.
Ready? Go.
Oh.
You didn't click anyone. Who is it? Okay. Okay. Interesting. Well, if
I
you want
didn't
to know.
know that person was draining you.
Yeah. Yeah, just it. It's wild how relationships ebb and flow, you know? Like how they can change so quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, that's a TikTok trend. I want you guys to do it and tag us in it because I think they're funny and I love the reactions of people, even if I don't get to know
I
what
will
your answers
say,
were.
if you guys comment who you think it is, I'll like it.
You'll like it if it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, deal.
Yeah.
Deal. That's a great. I like that. That'll do. Okay. Good break. Good little break we just had.
I am excited to hear this.
Have I told you this story?
I've heard bits and pieces.
Okay. The full story is good. Kyle thinks I like to dramatize it, but I don't think that's the case. I think he likes to underplay his role in this experience. But so I was doing van life and I was doing that by myself, which is a little cuckoo
Yeah.
of me, but like I had a blast. Had a blast. But
You're here, so
I lived.
whatever.
So basically, at one point in it, I got really, really lonely. And I decided, I called my mom that day, and I had like this whole plan and map out. And I was supposed to be like a week or two away from getting to Colorado because I had been doing the whole West Coast and I was going to stop at home, spend a week there. So I was like a week out from being in Colorado and I'm in Utah at this point. And I was like, okay, I called my mom and I'm like, I'm really lonely. When you're solo traveling like that, you feel like you can't talk to people, especially as a female, because it doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
So there were very few circumstances where I felt comfortable having conversations with people. And so like it's just lonely. Like
Yeah.
I was FaceTiming my friends, like shout out to the friends that like were my friends or still are my friends through the van life era because I was calling everybody twice a day every day. Like I needed somebody to talk to constantly while I was driving, when I was lying in bed, I was drinking a bottle of wine by myself at a winery and like
Yeah.
calling all of my friends to drunk talk to them. Like it was just kind of pathetic in a weird way, but also like really
I
character
feel like
building.
that's like I want to do that.
You should. I think everybody should either solo travel by themselves at some point or as an adult live by yourself once. I think it's like really character building. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn how to be okay with being alone. Doesn't mean you're not lonely. It just means like you know how to operate being alone.
Yeah.
Like I think about this all the time. If there was an apocalypse and all of the people on this planet died, like yeah, that would really suck, but I know I could be by myself, you know. So
Yeah.
it was just like very character building in that sense, but still nonetheless lonely. So I called my mom that week and I was like, I'm just gonna come home early. I'm not gonna do like this little excursion. I'm not gonna stay as many days as I had planned throughout Utah. I'm gonna come home. I was like, the one thing I had never done in Utah though, and growing up in Colorado Springs, like my Colorado fam knows, everybody goes to Arches National Park. It's right on the border.
Yeah, I've heard
Moab
of it.
is, well, Moab is really close to where I'm from. It's like only like a couple of hours. So
Cool.
like I remember watching friends grow up and like camping there or like going for like a day trip to the national park and then
Yeah.
coming home. Like so it was just like it's a popular place and I had never been in all of my years. So I was like, I'm gonna hit Arches on the way home and then I'm gonna do one hike and I'm gonna come straight home. My mom goes, okay, perfect. I'll see you like literally in a day.
Yeah.
So I go, I get to Arches. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite national parks, minus the story, but also like the story helps, like obviously. But so I decided to hike Delicate Arch, which is like the big one that's famous. It's like the big arch that everybody sees all the time.
Okay.
And I mean, if you go to my Instagram, there's billions of pictures of it. We have pictures on our walls in the house. So I do that hike. It's not an easy hike, but like it was fine. And I get to the top and like under the arch, people are taking turns taking pictures. You know, like everybody wants a
Yeah.
picture under the
Yeah.
arch. And I remember this older man was chatting with me and he was like, I can take a picture for you. And I was like, thanks. So he took a picture for me. And then we walked back up and all of a sudden we see this guy walk under the arch with his girlfriend. And he gets down on one knee and he starts proposing. It was so cute. Like, I mean, very cliche. I told Kyle he's never allowed to propose to me at a hike. I do not want to look like that while I'm getting
Oh my
proposed to.
gosh, I couldn't even imagine.
Well, it's a hard hike too. Like it's I mean, everybody's skill levels are different, but it's not an easy hike. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna sweat on that hike. So it's like, ew, no. But cute for them. He starts proposing to her, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the proposal, you just see this head pop up at the back of the arch. And we're like, and all of a sudden this man is behind in the middle of their proposal and like tramping through it. That would be Kyle. So he's like scurrying around this proposal, gets around it. Of course, then at this point now I've seen him because I'm like, who'd that be? Like, what are you doing over there?
Yeah.
You're ruining this moment.
Oh my
He likes to
gosh.
say he added flair to it.
He added some flavor
Some flavor.
to
Just
their
this.
proposal.
Well, what had happened was there's like clearly one way to hike up arches. Wow, I can't talk today.
Yeah.
Hike up arches. And he decided instead to go a weird different way. He got lost, went a wrong way, and he scaled up the back of the arch, which in hindsight was so dangerous. And like he was like, yeah, it definitely wasn't easy and it wasn't smart, but like that's what I did. So he had scaled up that way. But after the proposal, everybody's congregating and talking about it, and I felt comfortable in that scenario to be talking to strangers because
Yeah.
everybody's talking together, like everybody's talking about how cute
Yeah.
that was, stuff like that. And then I go off to the side to take some pictures of like the scenery and stuff like that. And Kyle is sitting like maybe a little bit away from me. And all of a sudden, this raven lands next to me. And he clearly is not a ladies' man. No, he is a ladies' man. He's very charming, but clearly must have been nervous because he was like, wow, that bird's more or is braver than you are because it was like closer to the edge. Something stupid. Something stupid. But I am so lonely at this point that I'm like, oh my God, attention. Please give it to me. So we're chatting or like we're giving each other one-liners like in between like long pauses of
Yeah.
silence. And then I see he starts to walk down and I did think he was very cute and I wanted his attention. So I started walking down like next to him
Yeah.
and I kept trying to start conversation with him. And if you ask him now, he'll tell you he didn't want to seem creepy. So like he kept like
Makes
letting
sense.
me lead the conversation and then he would stop talking. But it wasn't that he didn't want to talk to me,
Yeah.
but I definitely had to pull that information out of that dude. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, blah, 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 blah. Well, it turns out he was living trailer life. He had just separated from the military and had bought a trailer, renovated the trailer just like I did with my van,
Yeah.
was living in it and was doing all this little touring before he planned on heading back to Alabama to start civilian life, do whatever he wanted to do with that. So we just kind of happened to be on like a similar journey. We ended up hiking that hike back together, except for what would happen was he's a very slow hiker compared to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I overexert myself, but especially on downhills, like I like run them and he like could not keep up. So like we'd talk for a little and then I'd get ahead of him.
You're a fast walker.
I'm a very fast. I
Yeah.
also have very long legs.
But
So it's just
you're
like I
a
carry
very
myself far.
fast walker too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are we running?
I don't
Good
feel like I'm
Lord.
running. I don't feel like I'm running. But so like I'd get ahead and then I have to slow down and wait for him to catch up. So I could talk to him again. We finally get to the bottom. He asked if he could see my van. I showed him my renovation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just was like, okay, what now? And he goes, well, do you want to go to lunch somewhere? And like, we picked this Greek place in the middle of Utah, which like don't
Yeah.
recommend Mediterranean food in a landlocked state. But we went to this Greek restaurant. We had a 5-hour lunch to the point where they asked us if we were going to stay for dinner too. And we were like, no, I guess we could leave. And much to my mother's dismay of safety, I threw everything to the wind. And he was like, well, what you doing tonight? Like, where you head next? It's like, let's camp together. So I went to the wilderness with this boy that I just met on a hike. Don't try this at home, folks. I'm stupid. This is the beginning of every horror story you've ever heard of. Like every murder story.
Yeah.
Like,
News article.
yeah, like literally girl missing after hiking with strange boy.
Girl
Like,
on van life meets other man on van life.
like literally a horror
Girl
story.
gone.
I remember calling my mom on my way to the campsite with him, and she goes, have a good time, hangs up the phone, called back immediately and was like, wait a second, you're doing a what? Like, it took a minute for it to register with her, and once it did, she was like,
No, 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 no. Turn
No.
around.
I make jokes all the time that I could have taken him in hindsight, knowing like what Kyle does for a living. Like I could not have taken.
No,
I'd be dead.
no.
If he wanted me dead, I would have been dead immediately. But no, so we ended up camping together. I remember too, I called my friend Tamika, and Tamika's like the super sleuth of my friend group. And I gave her his name, his license plate number. She ran him
Oh
she
my
knew
God.
everything about him before I even got to the campground. So like, I'm good about it. I was
Yeah,
like, I sent everybody my location. I was like, I'm good, whatever. We ended up camping that night together. We had so much fun. We just had a blast. We drank tequila.
of
I'm
course.
I like wouldn't let him sleep in my van. I was like, get out. I was like, I was a good girl.
You were.
I was like, we are not like, it's not anything. I also was committed, and we're gonna talk exes in this month, and I had just gotten out of a bad relationship, and I was really committed to not dating anybody in van life. I wasn't going to stop van life for anybody. I wasn't going to do long distance while I was in the van. I was fully committed to like, this is my journey, and I'm doing it the way I want to do it, which is a lot of people now come back and tell me like that was super selfish of you to like put
Why?
Kyle in that position. I don't know. As that got to be a serious relationship, I can see where people see that, but he understood when he entered into that relationship that that's what my plan was and that was what I was doing. So it was about me
Yeah,
and my journey, and I am so endlessly grateful for his ability to be okay with that, because what ended up happening is obviously I did not go home early. I ended
yeah,
up spending that whole week traveling to Colorado with Kyle, traveling alongside because like he had the trailer and I had the van. We got to Colorado. I brought him home as like my friend. My mom was out of town and it was
yeah.
just my dad. And my dad, like, I remember my mom calling me and being like, okay, so I just got off the phone with your dad. He was like, should I be letting her bring this strange guy into our house? Because he was going to stay in like our
Oh my
house. And
God.
at the time, he's just my friend. And my mom, I remember my mom saying this, and it stuck with me because, like, I thought that was so cool as parents. She was like, well, like, Renee, my dad's name is Renee. She's like, well, Renee, like, we always want our kids to feel like our home is their home, even if they're adults. And whoever they want to bring into our house, we have to be okay with. Like,
Yeah,
and I thought that was
that's
really cool
awesome.
of her. So, because I mean, I had only known him for a week at this point, but he came. My dad loved him instantly, like
Yeah.
best buddies. Like they're to this day. Like I think he likes Kyle more than me sometimes, which is annoying. But
No, I get that vibe with my family too.
yeah,
They definitely like if me and Matt were to ever, for whatever reason, separate, they'd be like, "We want
we'll
Matt."
take Matt in the
Yeah,
divorce. No, but they clicked. They were great, and then Kyle went home to Alabama,
yeah,
and I, like I said, being a little selfish, was like looking back now on how much I love him. I was so aloof. I think that society trained us as girls to kind of be that way, is like, oh, nobody wants the clean girl, nobody wants the girl that fell in love instantly. It's like
yeah,
you need to like be selfish and look out for yourself. So I was very much like, I had a great time with you. I really like you. We can like explore this when I'm done with van life, but I'm not going to date you because I'm not doing long distance. And I told him that multiple
yeah,
times, and he decided that that wasn't going to work for him because he'll tell you he adamantly believes that if he hadn't done what he did next, we would still like we never would have reconnected. We would have just drifted and like stopped talking like most flings do.
yeah,
So he instead of so he had driven back to Alabama at this point. I'm still in Colorado. I took off with my brother to go up to like North Dakota and or not North, South Dakota, Nebraska, and make our way to Chicago. And I was dropping my brother in Chicago, and then he was flying back to Colorado, which that was a trip experience in itself that we could talk about. But I think what was the big game changer for us after that is Kyle showed up in Chicago, and he just flew to Chicago. He quit his job in Alabama, and he was like, okay, well, you said no long distance, so I'm just going to move in with you. And he moved into the van, and we've been together and lived together ever since. And yeah, he moved into my van. He did the rest of my van life trip with me, however I wanted to do it, every little step of the way. Um, I think it put my parents, as much as like at first they're like, oh my God, strange man.
yeah,
Like my parents were so excited in the fact that like, okay, she's not alone. Like we
yeah.
feel safer. Now when I want to do stuff in the van by myself, my mom's like, ew, bring Kyle. Why would you do that by yourself?
Well, knowing what he does, yes.
Yeah, but
Bring
but
Kyle.
bring Kyle. But no, it's just like one of those things where he just moved in. He got to visit all my friends on the road. So like he's met I think
Yeah,
that's one thing that I lack in that side of our relationship is I want to meet more of his friends. I've met one of them, but like he's met all of my friends because he's traveled to see all of them. Like we did that in the van. We experienced every city together. I was still very committed about coming back to Tampa after seeing everything that I had seen. He was open to that. He had no ties to anything. And yeah, he just did the rest of the year in the van with me.
We need to rewind though.
What?
To the proposal. Do we have photos of Kyle ruining
No!
this proposal?
I didn't even think to take a video for the couple. Like, I know somebody else did, but
we're like, there has to be a photo out there.
we're looking for you.
If you have taken that type of photo, you've posted it on social
Let
media.
me check the date. Hold on. Let me check the date of when we were in Arches. Kyle would know off the top of his head. I want to say it's the 25th. But
of what?
Of April.
Okay.
If you got engaged under the delicate arch on April, anywhere from like the 23rd to the 20, not 27th. 27th is our anniversary. And I think he counts our anniversary as like our second or third day being together.
2021 or 2020?
2021.
Okay.
No, one, because I was stuck in an apartment in 2020. Let me see if I can
We're
find
gonna dig and we're gonna find it.
That would be hilarious. I hope there's a picture out there somewhere. Well, if there's a picture out there somewhere, I hope someone in the universe, for their sake, edited him out of it. I hope it doesn't exist that he's in that photo.
I hope there's two. I hope we find the one that he ruined, because that would just make my day.
But yeah, that's how we met.
Those are red flags. How we met. Clearly, we have completely different stories.
I think that I don't advise anybody meeting somebody the way I did. Meet people on a hike, but don't be by yourself on a hike and don't camp with them the same night. Like, that was stupid. Honestly,
it worked out though.
It did work out. I will say I want to say 6 months into our relationship was the peak of, April 27th would have been when people got proposed to under that arch.
I'm writing this down.
That's why Kyle says that our anniversary is April 27th. Even though like we weren't dating yet. That's just when we met.
That's what me and Matt say. We use our anniversary as like the day we met, because realistically,
that's
we've
the start
been together ever since.
Well, and that's the start of your relationship journey. Yeah. I don't care if like you're best friends with a guy for 6 years and then you decide to date him. Technically, your relationship started when you guys started a journey together. So, but yeah, no, actually, so about 6 months into our relationship was the peak of, and this is actually, we're going to segue and then I promise we'll be done for the day, but it's a good segue. We were dating and living van life in the peak of the Gabi Petito case.
Okay.
Now, for those that aren't familiar with that, look it up, but that's the girl that her boyfriend killed her and they were living van life. Now, obviously, we've got some parallel here. Van, boyfriend, Gabi. She died.
God, why did I not even think about that? So you guys have the same name.
Same name, Van, boyfriend. And she was killed in Utah. Wow. And that's where Kyle and I met. And their last spotting was in Moab, which is where Arches National Park is. Creepy. Creepy.
They found her, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They didn't find him.
I thought they found him now.
No. Oh, they said they found his remains. Okay, that's a whole conspiracy theory we can get on. I don't think they found him. I think they needed to end that case.
Journal too.
They found his journal and they found a skull. You only found a skull and it was already like
skull.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It was like a month. Less than a month.
I have my theories that I strongly believe that he escaped our world was in chaos over it. I feel like our government and our FBI and all of them needed to calm America down, and it was easiest to stage that they found him. I think he's long gone in a country he can't be extradited from. My opinion. I'm sure I want to hear you guys' commentary on that, because I could go on and on about the Gabi Petito case. That was a
huge thing. You know what I hated about that case is it became so big on social media, that one case, but there's hundreds of other cases that are like that aren't blown up on social media.
Well, and it came down to, and it does not take away value from Gabi Petito, her family, and her deserving for justice. But what was the biggest thing on social media that people were upset about is this kind of attention would never have happened for a woman of color. This never would have happened for anybody in the Indigenous community. The amount of Indigenous women that go missing is outrageous. This is something that I could go
Yeah.
on and on for because I'm very passionate about it. Is an ex criminal justice major in college, and like I'm very passionate about my crime shows and stuff like that. But the Indigenous women, and it's actually funny, we're filming this on October 1st, and September
Yes.
30th is actually International Missing Indigenous Population Awareness Day. I'm messing that up really hard, but there was a day yesterday where
Yeah.
everybody who's Indigenous wore orange, and
Okay.
it's all about recognizing the missing children, the missing women in the Indigenous culture.
Yeah.
And they just go missing all the time, and we don't talk about it. And I think that's what made everybody upset is like this Gabby Petito thing blew up, and everybody should get that recognition. I'm not saying
Yeah.
she shouldn't, but if this were a Black woman, if this were anybody else of color, I mean, the Hispanic community, being somebody from the Hispanic community, I feel like our families are large families and involved families that I feel like a lot of Hispanic people get a little bit more attention. Still not as much as somebody
Yeah.
that would is white or white passing, but like the Hispanic community gets a lot more attention than like Black and Indigenous. So
Yeah.
that was the huge issue. But they did actually, not they did, they are this coming Sunday, which is October 2nd, are putting out a Lifetime movie about Gabby Petito. I will be watching it. I'm very intrigued to
What?
see. Yep, it's launching tomorrow.
Is her family okay with?
I'm sure they sold the rights to it. I'm sure that they're getting some compensation from it.
But still,
Yeah.
it's like that's so soon. I feel like.
They did not waste any time coming out with that. But here was the kicker of what I wanted to tell you about this case
Yeah.
is so I'm living in van life in the peak time of this, and we have lots of similarities. I started getting massive amounts on hate on Instagram saying that my boyfriend was going to kill me. Like he was getting hate of like, oh, like how can you be with him? He's going to kill you just like Brian Laundrie did, stuff like that. I had people contacting me of like, oh my God, are you missing? Which to me is so dumb. Like you messaged me wanting to know if
Oh my
I'm
God,
missing.
are you missing? Please respond. Like what?
Like people were sending me like they were resending like the Gabby Petito missing flyers on Instagram, and they were just DMing it to me. And I was like, if I were missing, I wouldn't be answering you anyways. So people were bothering the crap out of me. People were calling my mom, like relatives, and being like, "Oh my God, is it like as if like it's they just heard Gabby and Van and like people just shut down. They just
Oh
shut
my
down.
gosh.
So we had all these issues. Well, I was actually staying in Arizona at the time that it was like peak, like they were hunting for Brian.
Yeah.
I think at this point they knew Gabby was dead and they were hunting for Brian. I was staying at my friend Molly's house in Arizona, and she lives in an apartment complex.
Yeah.
And I had parked my van at her apartment complex before. It's a closed in garage. So I had gotten permission the last time I was there to park in the front, like in their like visitor section, and that they wouldn't tow me. Well, so I was back again, and Molly called again and was like, "Hey, my friend is here. She'd like to park her van." They asked my name, and that was it. And all of a sudden, the cops got called because they thought that Molly was housing Brian Petito or Brian Laundrie. They like kind of freaked out, like the
That's
lady.
crazy.
Yeah, so it was like I just got so much drama and heat from that. It was insane.
God.
It was the wrong time to be a Gabby living in a van, I'll tell you. But our vans were completely different. Like there was no like nobody was putting bolos out on my van or anything
Yeah.
because like she had a Nissan. It was like very small van, and I
Okay.
have a huge Dodge ProMaster. It's like way bigger. So nobody was like seeing my van on
Yeah.
the road and like calling it in. But social media was not a fun place
That's
for me.
crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
Wow.
But that case is so crazy to me too.
I'm just like thinking, like, we've lived through some crazy events in our lifetime so far.
I feel like it's not
And I'm
going to
only
end
like
either.
25.
I feel like it's not going to end. I feel like it's only going to get worse.
I hope not.
I fear for our children.
Does someone have a bunker I could live in?
Kyle.
Please.
I'm sure Kyle has a bunker somewhere he hasn't told me about.
I've thought about getting one. Like, we just stock it up.
You and Kyle should invest in one together.
Imagine if we have two and then like a tunnel with like a shared living space, and but then we each have like our own.
You and Kyle
That'd
can
be
draw the
so
plans up for that, and
fun.
Matt and I will sit there and judge you guys.
Yeah. That'll be like, this is dumb.
This is
Until
dumb.
until shit hits the fan, and then he's gonna be like, "Can I please come in?" Like, you made fun of me for years.
You're not going to let your husband into your bunker. Oh, great.
Get your own bunker,
Get your own
buddy.
bunker. Is that the name of this episode?
Get your own bunker.
Get your own bunker.
Yes, it is. I
Get
think it
your
should be.
own bunker. Okay, well, that's how I met Kyle.
That's
And
how I met
yeah,
Matt. In the produce section of the grocery
she met
store.
Matt in the produce section, and
Tell
I
everyone.
and I met Kyle because of a criminal case. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not funny.
Jokes. No, Kyle's safe, guys. I promise. I'm not.
Yes.
You know, people are like, blink twice if you're in danger. I'm not in danger. No blinking. But yeah, that's how we met our boys. So I know we can get Kyle to come hang out and chat.
We'll get Matt to come and tell the story of how we met.
Okay, whatever we can get out of him.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then we'll just like, okay, we have a few more questions. Anyways.
Send us your Matt questions. Send us what you want to know about Matt.
He's a mysterious creature.
I like it.
He does not have social media at all. He has a Facebook, but he doesn't know the password. And he only he only logged on once because we were like engaged or I wanted to be in a relationship with him on Facebook. So I was like, you have to like change your password and get in so like we can be in a relationship. And now that he's done that, I can go and change it and like he doesn't have to approve it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Heard it here, folks. Jordan is in a relationship.
Mystery man.
Mystery man.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.